Hello, sports fans. As I know, I'm back with another card opening video for your entertainment. And today we're going to talk about how to get autographs at Cactus League games. The Cactus League is a spring training league that is based in Arizona. There's 15 teams in Arizona, 15 teams in Florida. I live in Arizona. I don't live in Florida. I've been to, I don't even know how many spring training games in Arizona, but I've only ever gone to spring training in Florida once. So I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm not going to talk to you about Florida today. If you're going to Florida for spring training, you should still watch this video because you're going to get some helpful tips on how to get autographs in general. But I'm also going to go into some depth as to the best places to get those autographs in Arizona. So here's what I'm going to do today. We're going to start out with some general tips on how to get autographs at spring training games. Then we're going to do a little deep dive into the best parks to go to get autographs and the best places to go in those parks to get autographs in the Cactus League. Okay, so first and foremost, here's the thing that you need to know. If you are a kid, you're going to have a way easier time than if you're a guy my age. So that's thing one to know. Thing two to know is that if you are a woman, you're going to have a much easier time than a guy my age. That's thing two to know. Now, for those of you who saw my video that I posted the other day where I got 20 autographs in 2 hours at Salt River Fields from the Rockies, represent, it can be done even if you're a guy that looks like me. But it is easier for the kids. And by the way, if you are an adult like me, you must let the kids go first. Do not be that guy who elbows the kids trying to get past them to get an autograph. It is unseemly, it's uncool, it's unethical. And the baseball gods, the karma, they will bite you if you do that. As a matter of fact, I've gotten autographs before by specifically helping kids get autographs. And I can reach further than they can because I'm 6'3". And I say, hey, will you please sign this for this kid right here? Hey, will you please sign this for this kid right here? And then sometimes at the end, I'll say, could you get one for me real quick? And maybe they wouldn't have given me one if I hadn't done that. So there's something to be said for just being cool and being polite and being nice. Do not let your inner child cause damage to actual children. That's not okay. All right, so the second tip, other than the fact that just like don't be a middle-aged dude, which, you can't really help it. But if you're really trying to get a specific autograph, if you are a woman, you don't need to worry about this. If you're a man, it can be helpful to have a woman with you because the players sometimes are more likely to sign for a woman. Somehow in their little minds, they don't think that the women are reselling the autographs, and they think that all of the men are. I've actually talked to players about this. This is what they think. It can be very helpful also to use word tracks like, will you please sign this for my collection? Because it's sort of indicating to them you're not going to resell it. Now, of course, they don't know if you're going to resell it or not, but another way to do that is to ask for them to personalize it, because if they personalize it, then it's worth almost nothing on eBay, and they know that. So that's something that can be very helpful. But if you're really having trouble getting someone, if you ask a woman next to you to do it, or you bring a woman with you, you might have an easier time if you're a guy. If you have little kids, please don't exploit them. Get the autographs for them. Don't get them for you. But having said that, if they've already gotten one and you want to get one too, there's certainly nothing wrong with trying that. If you are a middle-aged man, how can you have an advantage given that you are going into the game of getting autographs at an inherent disadvantage if you are a middle-aged or older guy? Actually, that's not true. If you are a much older guy, much older than me, also the players are more likely to sign, because then you remind them of someone that they love and they also figure that you're not going to sell it. But if you're a middle-aged guy, you have to go where the other people are not. That is very, very, very helpful. So first of all, figure out a corner that you can stand in where nobody else is, where the players have to pass by. Figure out if you're at a practice where they're about to get finished practicing in one area and they haven't started signing yet, and just get over there. Because ethically for me, if I'm the very first one to get an autograph and there's nobody else around, then I'm not taking an autograph away from a kid or anybody else. Furthermore, if I'm the only one they sign for, and this is going to sound arrogant and terrible, but if I'm the only one that's smart enough to know where the player is going to be and I get there, it's sort of like hunting. Like, you want to be where the deer is going to be, not where they are presently. So you have to think about, I saw that guy come out of that entrance. He's going to go back into it when he exits. when he's done doing whatever he's doing, running sprints or hitting batting practice or whatever it is that he's doing. So I want to be smart and position myself in that area. It's incredibly important to be polite. You have got to be polite. I always call them Mr. So-and-so, even though most of them are half my age. The word track that I have developed that works really well is, Mr. So-and-so, do you have time? Because I'm not actually asking them for the autograph. It's obvious because I'm holding a card that I want them to sign, but I'm not asking them for an autograph. When you say, Mr. Blackman, may I please have your autograph? I don't know, maybe he'll stop, maybe he won't. When you say, Mr. Blackman, do you have time? Sometimes they say no. Sometimes they still say no because they don't have time. They're on their way somewhere. It's actually very respectful toward them because you have to keep in mind, you're at their place of business. You're at their work. And they might need to go hit, or they might need to go eat, or they might need to go do whatever. And them not signing for you might have nothing to do with them being a jerk or not liking you or just not wanting to sign autographs. It might just be that literally they don't have time. So it's just an informational question. Do you have time? But I have found that my response rate has gone way up since I started saying that, because the reality of the matter is they almost always have 10 seconds to sign an autograph. So when you say, Mr. So-and-so, do you have time? That's a really good word track. Just don't use it if I'm standing next to you because I invented it. So I want to be the one to use it. Anyway, have fun with that. Mr. So-and-so is always better than Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. You know, Mr. So-and-so, be respectful. Again, you are at their place of business and you are asking them for something that they're not getting paid to do. They're getting paid to play baseball. They're not getting paid to actually sign autographs for you, although some of them seem to enjoy it. So just be super courteous. The other thing that I do is as I hand them the card or the ball, I say, thank you so much. And then after they do it, I say, thank you so much again. Another thing you can keep an eye out for is that if someone is trying to get an autograph, but their pen isn't working or they don't have a pen, another thing you can do, if you're the first one there and then a bunch of other people start coming up to you, you can say, Mr. Blackman, feel free to keep using that Sharpie. Because it's a lot faster for them to just keep signing with the same pen than to be switching. So my point is that if you're courteous and respectful and helpful, they just naturally want to sign for you and help you out because you're being cool. If you are objectifying them or treating them like everybody else treats them, like an object, then they don't like it so much. So just think about it. If you were at your work and people were trying to get your time and your signature, how would you want them to approach it? Would you want them to say, Mr. Smith, do you have time? Or Mr. Smith, do you have a moment, right? Or do you want them to say, Bobby, 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 sign, sign, sign? You know, so I mean, just think about it. Just use your mind, use your brain. Another thing that's very helpful is to have a roster with all of the numbers on it, because some of the time they don't have their name on the back of their jersey, although this is getting better this year. For example, the Rockies, which is a team I'm very familiar with, suddenly have names on the back of their jerseys. So I don't know if all of the teams are going to be doing this now that Nike has got the new uniforms. If for some reason they don't have their jersey on, or if they have a warm-up jacket over their jersey, they'll often have their number on their equipment bag. So if you're not sure who it is and it says their number on their bag, it says 19 on it, and you look on your roster and you go, oh, that's Charlie Blackman. Bad example because it's really impossible to not know who Charlie Blackman is. He's like Brandon Marsh. He looks like Captain Caveman. I say that with all love and respect because he's one of my favorite players, but it's hard to miss Charlie Blackman. But there are people who you might not know who they are, but if you just see their number and you have a little roster with you, or if you have it on your phone, you can find it. Speaking of going on your phone, we're just going to stick with the example of the Rockies. You go to ColoradoRockies.com or whatever, SanFranciscoGiants.com, LosAngelesDodgers.com. And there's different tabs. There's the active roster, which is not what you want. You want the 40-man roster, because there's a lot of players that are on the 40-man roster that get invitations to spring training. So you want to make sure that you have the 40-man roster up on your phone or printed out, even better, so you can easily look at it. The other tab that you're going to want to look at under rosters is NRI. That means non-roster invitations. Those are players that are either veterans who have signed a minor league contract, they haven't signed a major league contract for spring training, or they're prospects who haven't yet made the 40-man roster, but they're being invited to spring training, either with a chance to make the team or just, to give them experience. Know your players, know your names, know your numbers, and don't be afraid to ask. Just ask politely. The other thing you can do is if someone says, I got to go hit or whatever, you get that a lot. I got to go hit. Just say, no problem. Would you be willing to afterward? And they'll, most of the time, they don't say no because, it's the social construct. They're trying to follow the rules of society. It'd be very rude to just say no. Sometimes they'll say maybe, but a lot of the times they'll say yeah. The other thing you'll get a lot sometimes if they're on their way somewhere in spring training is you'll get, I need to go do such and such. I'll get you after. So then you just want to make yourself known to them in some way. My name's Noma. I'm wearing the spring training hat, or, I'm wearing a 5-Finger Death Punch t-shirt or whatever, so that they will remember. Because you have to keep in mind that in the same way that you're objectifying them if you're not being cool, they objectify the horde of autograph seekers as one entity. So you want to be able to stand out and be someone that they want to return to. So think about study the habits. It is literally like hunting. Hunting for autographs is literally like hunting. Study the habits of your quarry. Know what they're going to tend to do. Know where they're going to tend to go. Pay attention. And for example, in spring training, the backfields are a great way to go before the game. Like for a 1 o'clock game, the backfields typically are going to open up at 9 a.m. So if you're really serious about getting autographs, you want to get there at 9 a.m. and you want to stay till about noon when the players go in to get lunch. And then you want to go right into the park and situate yourself somewhere that the players are going to walk past as they're going to get ready to play. And they'll start coming in at about 12:30. Then you also want to stay somewhere where they exit, because you have to keep in mind during spring training, the starters generally leave early. In the first couple games of spring training, they're leaving in like the second or third inning. Middle spring training, fifth or sixth inning. Toward the end, they might play till like the seventh inning, but they're not playing the whole game. So sometimes they will sign on their way out. It's harder to get them on their way out, but sometimes they will. There's also the player parking lot. If you want to figure out where the player parking lot is, just look for the parking lot that has security that's not letting anyone in, and look for all the really nice cars, because that's the player parking lot. They do sometimes sign on their way in and on their way out. So if you want to get there at like 7 a.m. before they even suit up and get out there, you might get lucky. If you want to hang around after the game, you might get lucky. I'm realizing this video is going to get way too long if I don't stop there. So I'm actually going to do a part 2 that's going to talk about the specific Arizona spring training sites. So this video is just for general autograph tips that would apply in Florida or Arizona. And then the next one is going to be about specifically Arizona. So I hope that this was very helpful, and I hope that you will have fun getting autographs. Be respectful, be nice, and hit them where they ain't, as they say, and you'll do great. Baseball cards are awesome, and Noma loves ya. Please remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Nolan Jones from the Colorado Rockies, and Noma loves you.